Right, hi everyone. Today is Thursday, 16th of February, and in this video I would like to review what happened throughout today because we had some pretty interesting movements. So let me go ahead and give some insights for today. So first of all, we will take a look at the Euro AUD, and as you can see, we had the session low, the Asian session low. Also, we can mark the session high, but in this case, it does not give us any kind of relevance simply because it's pretty far from the action zone, which pretty much happened within the session low. So when the London session began, we had some price action, in a way sideways price action. As you can see, the market rejected the session low, also showed a breakout, which would then lead to a retest continuation or a failed breakout and a comeback and rejection. In this case, the reason why I'm telling and showing you this because of the explanation on why I did not took a trade setup on Euro AUD. First of all, this candle, you may think that this is a good enough candle for a setup to execute into a long position, which in a way it is, but at the same time it's a pretty risky one because as you can see, even though we had a break, we had a failed break retest continuation, so we actually got a break and rejection. Yes, it's a valid candlestick, it's a nice strong rejected candle, but that closure just like shy of like one pip above the CMAs. I wouldn't classify this as a very safe position to take. You can take this if you already made some profits for the week and you were able to afford a loss. In this case, I didn't took this because I saw a few other setups, but at the same time I was not trading too much this week because I've been in Italy, so trading was not on my mind, to be honest, in the last few days. This is why this setup looked a bit of a too risky. So even though I do not recommend taking such trades, it was a pretty possible one. Then next thing are these two candles. So this one is also, once again, as you can see, even though it's rejecting the session low, it's above the EMAs, it's a fairly nice green candle, but also what's important that this spike over here is pretty much almost as big as the candlestick body, meaning that I wouldn't classify this as a valid candlestick entry. Now, if we look at this candle, which was a very nice, strong bullish candle, the reason why this candle would not be valid as well is simply because the distance between the session low and the entry candle in this case is 8 pips. I would say that is way too much. Yes, you can handle something like a few pips because the market is never perfect. It's not always touching the exact session low or session high. You should always look at it as in this case, like as a mini zone. So it's okay to respect a few pips above, few pips below, but in this case, even visually, you can see that it's way off the session low. This is why this candle is not also considered as a valid long setup candle. So Euro AUD, even though it provided a beautiful bullish setup, it was not super valid for the entry. Now, if we look at GJ actually showed a fairly interesting price action. First of all, yes, we have a session high, as you can see right here. Then during the first hours of London session, we had some indecision. Eventually, we had a break and retest, but we never get the retest continuation candle. Instead we got this rejection back below the session low. This candle alone, simply, I would say, maybe from my experience in the markets, it simply did not give me enough confidence, because this was the very first candle after quite a few candlesticks staying above the session high. So I just thought, okay, it is a fairly valid candle to short the market, but let me see like a few more candlesticks, maybe one more, maybe two more, just to see where the market is heading. It's okay to miss the setup, and it's always better to miss the setup rather than get in too early and get a stop loss. Yeah. So then we had a few more candlesticks. This one was okay to enter, to be honest, because the gap is not as much, but this one was even better. We had a clear session high retest, rejection, a fairly nice bearish candle, so it was a decent candle to enter. On this one, to be honest, at this time I'm not sure what I did, why I missed this one, but I saw mid this green candle, so yeah, I just waited for the closure, and this candle closed fairly interestingly, but this then showed trading setup. Stop loss on this one was about 21 pip, which is a pretty standard, like 20-25 pips or so is like the average for these GJ, GA, Euro AUD pairs, and 3-to-1 ratio. GBP AUD, on the other hand, haven't provided any kind of a trade setup. We have a session low that got formed pretty much by the end of the Asian session, and within the London session it never came to retest or to show any kind of price action somewhere here, which means that there were no trading setups, and we have a session high which was respected during the first hours of US session, but eventually there was no position in this case for us. USD CAD provided a beautiful entry. Let me mark session high as well. So we had a session low, we had the first candle at the opening showed a break below the session low. So for a short setup, we need to see a retest continuation. For long, we need to see retest rejection. Now, right here on this candle, it was a fairly good short setup, and I indeed did some interesting things with myself. I don't usually do that, but in certain occasions it happens. I mean, psychologically, we are all human beings. We are not perfect psychologically, especially, which means that yes, even though I took the short right here, after this candle I decided to close the position early and just wait for a bit more confirmation. And I wouldn't call it a luck, but it definitely luck was on my side in this case, because the next candle showed a completely opposite signal, meaning that you were able to take a short here and simply have a stop loss order and a losing trade, but you could also play it in both ways. And actually, if you took this short right here and then you saw that the market is providing you completely opposite setup, well, it's not super following the rules, but it's a possible way to go ahead, close the position earlier, and just re-enter to the opposite side. Once again, this is not ideal, and if you are just learning the strategy, just getting started with the whole trading thing, etc., I would never encourage you to do that. It's way better to accept the fact that this trade is a losing trade and just simply move on. But in certain occasions, when you are in front of your computer, when you see the market, when you see more setups forming, like there was on GJ, potential on Euro AUD as well, it's just better that you can actually do such a thing. Yeah, So even though right here there was a loss of about 0.5%, the market eventually reversed, and it actually provided a very beautiful and pretty quick long setup as well. So this was a fairly misleading trade, but I believe that by making this video and explaining the thought process, it can improve your future decisions as well, because you don't have to be as a robot, simply always following the exact rule. Yeah, I mean, if you see such things happen and you are confident that you can manage it well, and you can not mess things up by having one short position, one long position, or you close the short too late or too early before accepting the fact that you were wrong, you may actually do more damage than good. So it's always better to do such things only when you feel that you have more experience and confidence in the strategy and your ability to manage positions as well. So in this case, I played it pretty well, but if I would be a beginner learning how to trade, I would definitely stick to my one bias. If my bias was short, I would stick to my short, and would rather get a stop loss rather than getting involved into this double-sided trading, which is not recommended at any time. But sometimes it happens, and this is why out of all of the days that I traded, today was the most interesting, I would say, from the last week or so. So this is why I'm making the video explaining that. And if we look at Aussie dollar, I haven't even actually marked my session highs or lows on this one, because to be honest, I have no idea why. I just had quite a few things going on with the rest of the pairs. So AUD USD wasn't on my watch list for today, but I can see now that it actually provided also a pretty misleading position, because as you can see, you had a break, you had a retest and continuation candle. So after this candle, you were able to take a long position, and then pretty much 2 candles later, you were getting a short position signal as well. So once again, this is a pretty misleading conditions. It happens. It's normal. I mean, the market moves differently, I would say, every single day. Yeah? So each day provides new opportunities, and each day provides new price action for us to look at. So in this case, it was also fairly misleading, because you were able to go long here, and I would say maybe an hour later, you would be stopped out from this position. And then pretty much if you bought here, 2 candles later, or like 6 candles later, you are getting short signals as well. So this is a misleading market conditions, which, as I mentioned, it happens. But if you missed this one and you saw this one, that would be a beautiful position to go short after this candle, and market would give you those 3% pretty easily without too much of a waiting or struggling. Yeah, so as you can see, today was a pretty interesting day for the market. NZD CAD, we had a session high, we had a session low, and we traded within the range, and we are still trading within the range with only a few minutes left for the US session closure, the end of US session. Yeah, so as you can see, I mean, it was a pretty active day. We had some positions, we had some good positions, and we had some definitely and interesting positions as well. So thank you for watching. Hopefully this video will be beneficial for your future decisions while trading the session strategy. Wishing you all the best, and I will see you on the next video.